in the district evaluation contest and represented Division F in the 2017 International Speech Contest. Wilma is a dual member and has served as mentor for both members and club. She has served as club officer, contest chair, co-chair, TLI trainer, conducted a youth leadership program, and served 2 terms as District 55 Chief Judge. She is currently an area director. In 2016, she earned her first District 55 Triple Crown Award. She is a District 55 Elite member receiving the Star Awards for Education and Marketing. In this presentation, Wilma will go over.
Oh, it's contestant training. I'm sorry, I jacked that up.
Oh,
no problem.
Okay. I would like to, without further ado, introduce our esteemed speaker, Wilma
Igwe.
Thank you.
That's so great. I thank you so much, Mia. You're amazing. I appreciate you. I'm going to jump right into it. So just let me know how I'm doing on time, things like that. We are going into the contestant, what I call the contestants corner. This is a dream for me. This is something that I've always wanted to do. We always train our officers, our role players, our judges. We have judges training all the time. But there's really nothing for contestants to actually get in and kind of have a conversation. If you have any questions, please make sure that you post them in the chat. Somebody will let me know what's going on there. And I will get right into, boom, you can see the screen, everyone can see? Excellent,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You see there is my hero, woohoo! Can you describe a quality contestant? This is Mike Carr, who is our current world champion of public speaking for this year. And he is from Austin, Central Texas, yeehaw, and I am very excited. One of the things that makes me really happy about it is because Mike was chosen while I was a District 55. I'd done my 3rd term actually as District 55 Chief Judge, which is probably my favorite role in the whole world. I'm so proud because that means that our judges are killing it. They are right on point. We didn't just pick our district winner, but we picked the guy who's going to win in the world. We know our stuff. And we've done that before, so this is great. Can you describe a quality contestant? What do you think is a quality contestant? Every once in a while, you'll see me look back because I have I can see the chat somewhere else. But anyway, quality contestant, throw it out there. What do you think?
Hey, Wilma.
Yes.
The thing that I would say is most quality about Mike, I mean, he's got a lot of talents, but he took online body language to the next level for the whole world.
Yes. Yes, definitely he did. And I that's something that I have been so excited about. Probably the main thing that I'm excited about with the virtual learning is with the virtual contests and meetings. How do you make a speech? It's amazing that we forget that, oh, well, we kind of, something in us says, well, I'm sitting in a chair in front of a desk, in front of a camera. I can't move. I can't gesture. No, you have to. You have to, because that's a part of you being animated. That's a part of, when he came up to the camera and looked, and I was like, look at those pretty little eyes looking right at me. Oh, I was just so excited. But that's what you want to make sure you're doing, is that you're close enough for them to see you, like you're reaching out to touch them. That's beautiful. What else? What else makes a quality contestant?
Enthusiasm.
Yes, enthusiasm. High energy. Not like me, frenetic and just kind of going all over the place, but someone who's actually controlled and can make that presentation to you and say what they're going to say to you without distracting with their hands, their gestures, the wild hair like I do, those kind of things. You want somebody who has that. Another factor that I will always add into it is that contestants need to be prepared, and not just with a speech. They need to be prepared in the ways that we're going to be discussing today. And that is to know the rules, to be looking, not just, don't sit there and think about, okay, my speech, am I going to say this and do this, do this, do this? me. Be aware of what's going on around you, because it can have amazing and just phenomenal impact on not only your performance, but on your qualifications and how you progress to the next level. Today, we're going to be talking about competitions.
He's the world champion. Oh.
Yes, he is. He is the world champion of public speaking this year and totally jazzed.
Wilma, Blake has raised his hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead. Thank you. Yes, Blake?
Well, one other thing I've noticed watching people speak, and I'm not there myself, I'm striving towards it, is to connect with the audience. That's what makes a quality contestant, you know.
Yes. And it's very, very important that we do that here, you know, on virtual contests. Virtual, this venue, so to speak, it can be challenging. Don't get me wrong. It can be challenging. It's hard to look at the tiny little dot on the little screen and think, you know, sometimes I want to look at myself and see what I'm doing or see what somebody else is doing. I've been a few times. I'm like, what is she eating? Oh my goodness, that looks good. So I understand. We're going to be talking about competition, and then the criteria, and then the conduct not only of our contestants, but of our role players. Okay. Going to go into it. Contest level differences. If you're a contestant or you're wanting someone to be a contestant, you want to make sure, let's talk about the club contest. Oh, wait a minute. You guys, wait a minute. There's a way to show my mouse. You can see where I am, but how do I show my mouse?
Grace, do you know? I don't.
There's some weird thing. Wait a minute. Floating.
You can annotate.
Is it
perhaps?
annotate? Okay.
You can draw that with that.
Yeah, I don't want to draw. I just want a mouse. There you go. There it is. You see my mouse now, the big pink mouse?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, doggone.
I saw it brief. There it is.
Now I see a pink arrow.
Yeah, there you go. That's my doodad. That's my, I can't see it, so I need it that way.
But it's microscopic. It's not big. It's tiny, tiny, tiny.
Oh, really? Oh, well, then I'm not getting full with it. Don't really sweat that then. Let's just not even sweat that.
It pops up and goes away. It's back and forth, in and out.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, then don't even worry about it. So what happens is, well, now you can see it, right? All right, good deal. Then I'll be on this screen. So at the club contest, this is what's very interesting. Club contest, we're talking about the differences. We're talking about what we do at the club. This is your first step as a contestant. Notable concessions. In the club contest rules, the one thing that you will hear frequently is this, unless impractical. For instance, the club contest has some flexibility on the number of judges, some flexibility on the number of, you still have to have a chief judge, and you also need to have a tiebreaker judge, but you have some flexibility. There's sometimes you'll have 3 judges instead of the 5 at club level. Area contestants, anyone who's going to compete can actually be selected. A club does not have to have a contest. But if there's someone who wants to compete, that should actually be thrown out there and presented to the club. Hey, we're not having a contest, but would anyone like to represent Club ABC at the area contest? You can do that. Dual members may compete in all their clubs. You can compete at the club level. So if you're in 8 clubs, you get to compete at the club level in 8 clubs. Boom. You are to have 5 voting judges, but unless impractical, that's what the rule books will say. At the area level, you'll have combined contests more than likely, or very frequently, you'll see combined area contests. I've never seen a club contest that was combined, but I know that that can be done. But in the area, you do see that kind of rather frequently, because for some reason, not all clubs within an area have a contest, and you may have one that only has 2 people or 1 person. Dual members can compete once. There are some exceptions, but dual members can compete only once in the area contest for the most part. If you are the sole contestant in your area, I'm the only person in area Z21 that's going to show up. Nobody else is competing. You have to be there. You have to show up and you have to make your speech. You are not allowed to say, well, nobody's there. I'll see y'all in division. I'm going shopping. No, you need to be at your contest or you will be disqualified, and you need to be there before the Toastmaster is introduced. And you must agree to waive if you get there late, you must agree to waive the contestant's briefing. At the area level, you'll also have 5 voting judges, none of whom should be a member with a contestant, a club member with a contestant. On the third box, I combined the division and the district because they actually are very similar in the way that they're run. They both are standalone contests. Division contests and district contests are always standalone contests. You will not see division F and G have a co-contest or combined contest. Must be on their own. There is a strict adherence to the rule books. There must be. That contest will be stopped and called on the carpet if you don't have enough judges, if you don't have the rules being followed with regards to eligibility, with regards to anything in the rule books. Division, we want you to be on point. And you will have 7 voting judges or 1 per division. Sometimes we have 8 divisions, sometimes we have 7. We want 1 judge per division plus the voting, plus the tiebreaker judge. Any questions so far? Cool.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Wilma, on the dual membership, you said you can only compete once. I can understand that within the area, but what happens if a person was to maybe join different districts? Could they compete more than once in different districts?
I do not think so. As a matter of fact, I interpret the rule books to speak against that. You have to choose where you're going to represent.
Okay, so nobody could join, say, 5 districts and go up through the ranks in each of the districts.
No.
Thank you.
No, yes, and those results are sent to Toastmasters International. So they're going to say, oh, she's just won in 2 districts. We're not having that. Pick one. Yeah, I mean, they don't say it like that, but they would if I was there because I'm obnoxious that way.
And secondly,
Yes,
is the chief judge a voting judge?
No, the chief judge is not a voting judge. The chief judge is basically a project manager, and they're to make sure that the judges are in place, that the timers are in place, that the tie-breaking judge is in place, as well as monitoring the ballot counters. They are the lead ballot counter, and to make sure that all those are in order. Thank you, I appreciate that question. We're gonna go into eligibility. There's a lot of information or a lot of words on here, but I just ask that you just kind of bear with me. And if you see something wrong, I do see Jean in the house, yay. If you see something that I didn't tweet properly, please make sure you call me on it, and I'm real cool with that. I appreciate you. Eligibility, and understand that the quotes that I have here are from, or paraphrases in some instances, but they are from the 2021 rule book. Get the rule book and make sure that if you have any old rule books, if it is not 2021, throw it away, delete it, get it off your computer. Do not use it or rely on it. Every year, District 55 makes, or Toastmasters International rather, makes changes and revisions to the rules. Those revisions are significant. Even the slightest revision can change the entire outcome of your eligibility, of your contest, or the way it's conducted, the validity of your votes every time. So use the current rule book. I suggest that you download a copy and put it on your cell phone or on your tablet or in all places so you can have it if you ever need to refer to it. You have to be, in order to be eligible to compete in a Toastmaster speech contest, you do have to be a paid member of a club in the area, division, and district that is hosting your contest. You need to be a member. paid member, and your club must be in good standing. If you have paid your dues, but your club has not met are not at the level, they're not in good standing, that club, you are disqualified. You can be disqualified immediately. The dues and membership application must be current with world headquarters, and you must have completed either 6 speeches in the Competent Communicator Manual, which is the old education projects, or level 1 and level 2 of any Pathways path. Level 1 and level 2 of any pathway. Now all clubs around the world are Pathways clubs. Make sure that you have all of those documents in place before you begin to compete. The exceptions to this is that if you have chartered a member, if you're a member of a club, a charter member of a club that chartered less than a year before the area contest. For example, I saw on the website that we have a new club, I believe in Austin, the Buzz Club. Those contestants, they will be exempt from this because they just chartered, I guess, within the last few weeks. They can compete, they can take off and hit the ground running and compete and against and represent all the way through district and internationals if they needed to do so. So you want to make sure that you want to check the status of your club because you don't want surprises. I'm talking to you again as contestants. Contestants, don't be surprised. You need to make sure that you are informed. Members who join the clubs prior to the District 55 Pathways rollout can apply CC speeches, which is Competent Communicator speeches. If you just joined within the last year or so, you're not going to have CC speeches. But you want to check that and make sure that you talk to your VPE or even your area director if you have questions or if you're concerned. Maintain eligibility, and we scream this, we shout it from the mountaintops, maintain eligibility at every level. If we find at division or even at district that you were ineligible way back at your club contest, you are disqualified. Even though you went through all those paths, you can be disqualified. So make sure you maintain your eligibility and verify that. I have here a copy of the speech contest eligibility checker. This is it's on our, you see that this is basically a screenshot, Toastmasters International website. Welcome, Wilma. And it gives you, search for a member. You see that there is the number, my ID number, my last name, and it will, if you go in, it will go in, you put that information in, I'm sorry, and it will also go to this page, member profile. Now I was really excited because I am in 3 clubs. Which one of these clubs can I not compete in? If you can see that information, can you see it? There's one club I cannot compete in.
That would be Texas Talkers because you were only paid through this past September.
Exactly. When I took this picture, yes, I was paid through September. That means that if we had contests, if somebody decided to have or if Texas Talkers had an early contest, say in December, this month, and next week, we're gonna have it, get it out of the way for Christmas, we're gonna have a club contest. And I go in and I compete, and then I win. And I progress to the area contest, they're gonna say, you were disqualified because you were not paid at the time of the area contest. I would be disqualified if I made it to area. Even if I paid, if I paid later, I would be disqualified. I can't do that. I have to be qualified when I compete. Therefore, all right, so check the checker, that's cute. Understand that there's a link to this also on the contest section or event section in this TMD 55. You can actually see the link there. But if you want to know if one of your members is eligible, just run them through this checker and it will instantaneously give you the information you need. And if someone needs to say, hey, we need you to pay your dues or we need you to make a couple extra speeches, do that, get that taken care of. We're going to talk a little bit about judging versus evaluation. The sticking point, the stickler, the thing that drives people insane about speech contests is the judging. Many people believe that judges are evaluating the speech. That could not be further from the truth. Anywhere you go to look for a judge's qualification or any type of judge's training, there will be this segment where they will tell you, where the presenter will tell you, judging and evaluations are two very, very, very different things. Evaluators, we want to appraise your speech goal. Did you reach your goal when you made your speech? They will suggest improvements. They will consider what you've done in the past. Your evaluator will say, you know, you've come a long way since your icebreaker. You've done really well with this path as opposed to the other path. I heard you make this speech last week at another club, and I love the way you've edited or you've changed some gestures or some facts. They will give you information and compare from then.
Okay, I'm in.
Huh? Oh, they will have a conversation with you. Judges have one goal. That is, pick a winner. And that winner is going to represent whatever level we're at. The judge's decision is confidential. They will not have a conversation with you about it. You will not see their ballot or how they scored you. You will not be able to ask them, what did you see or didn't see? What did you like or didn't like? That is of no consequence when it comes to judging a contest. I share this with you in case you ever judge a contest as well as compete in one. And the judges are judging this performance based on how you did today. If you made a speech about the Statue of Liberty at club, and you made your Statue of Liberty speech at area, and you made your Statue of Liberty speech at division and district, and even if you get to the semifinals with that speech, every speech is a new speech. They should not look at your presentation and say, oh, they left out the really cool story about the dog that climbed a tree. No, I like that story. I'm going to count off points. No, that has nothing to do with it. How did they do today? And yes, dogs can climb trees. Any questions so far? Cool. This is a snapshot or a screenshot of the ballot, of a portion of the ballot. The ballot is really big, so it was I couldn't get it to where I could see it if I put the whole thing here. You can always go online to get one, and you can go to tmd55.org. And if you go to the events section, there's a whole contest segment. I think that our district has the best contest segment. Every script, every paper, every document, it's updated. One of the changes they've made to the ballots this year is that you can fill them out online. They're animated where you can put in or delete, put in things. It's beautiful. So they put in a live copy so that we don't have to create those to give to our judges in virtual settings. You'll see that speech content, 50 points. There's a 100-point scale on your ballot. And if you're a contestant, 50 points, half of your qualifying score is based on the content of your speech. Now, I just got through making a presentation about controversial topics. We're not saying don't make controversial topics. When they're saying content, we're talking about development. Do you have an opening, a body, a conclusion? Do you have an idea that is supported with examples, data, statistics? Are you understood by your audience? And then do you have a significant conclusion? Doesn't have to be deep and lofty, but is it sound and solid? Does it go back to what were you trying to achieve? Is it effective? The purpose, is it effective? Do you have a purpose for your speech? Is your audience receiving you and listening to you? Are they engaged? Of course, in our contests on virtual sites, our virtual contests, we usually we shut off the camera or the video, so you can't see them. But you will see more than likely your Toastmaster as well as the timer. And you should be able to see these people and at least see some response, get some feedback. If you're in your home and you have your kids or your husband or wife or significant other sitting on the couch watching you make a speech, you're looking for their feedback, their nonverbals. So look for that. And was your speech meaningful? Was it original? Did it contribute and inspire them to think? The speech value is always from ranges 20 points, 15 points, and 15 points. I urge you to get a ballot and look at it so that you will understand what they're looking for. You'll notice that this looks nothing like an evaluation sheet or a pathways evaluation page. It's not an evaluation. Delivery of your speech is 30 points. The physical, the voice and the manner. They're listening to your vocal variety. They're looking at, is your appearance reinforcing your speech? Are you smiling when you should? Are you looking serious when you should? Are you animated and using appropriate gestures, your body language? Again, if you're sitting at your desk while you're making a speech, do you look like you're reading the script? Is your camera, tablet, phone, whatever you're using, down low so it looks as though they're looking up your nose? That's something you definitely want to be careful and cognizant of. We always have introductions and I guess what you call a warm-up before the contest so that we can see how your lighting is or see how you're doing, with regards to your presentation. What is your setting? So you want to make sure that that's a part of your delivery. And lastly is speech language. Is it appropriate and is it correct? The attention is on what was said, not how it's said. So understand, you're not being counted against because you have an accent or because you speak with a really, really serious West Texas twang. One of the things I often hear is sometimes we have a sing song. Sometimes people will get a sing song cadence. So we're not necessarily looking for that, but we do want to see animation. We want to hear authenticity. If you're doing different voices, make them wonderful, but at the same time, maintain the integrity of the grammar and the language that you're speaking, your word choices, okay? Questions? This is my favorite part of my presentation. Yahoo! I want you to watch this for your consideration. This is Ramona Smith. She's from Houston. She was the 2018 world champion. I guess you can read that, of course. Absolutely beautiful. I was so inspired. I absolutely adored it. I want you to read this critically and listen to this 2-minute segment of her speech. Oh, can you hear? You can't hear it, can you? Oh, wait a minute. Stop the madness. There's something I was supposed to do. What is it? Wait a minute. Let's see here. Oh no. Oh,
Wilma,
there you go.
You'll want to reshare your screen and click the little box that says share computer audio.
Share the sound. There you go. Thank you. Okay, let me see here. Did I just share it again? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I see it, and for a second I heard it.
Yeah, for a second I heard it too.
Okay, good deal, good deal, good deal. All right, so then let me see.
Almost.
All right, there we go. Are we good?
Even after suffering loss.
Yes, good.
Thank you.
Still standing. As for my marriage, I'm still in training. I have not yet found Mr. Right, but this is an international convention. And there are thousands of men from hundreds of different countries. So single Toastmasters, even after my divorce, I'm still standing. My challenge to you is to stay in the ring, whether you're a fighter or a coach. If you're on the side of the ring coaching, or if you're in that ring, throwing those jabs and those hooks. When that final bell rings, ding, 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 the fighters and the coaches will raise their hands in victory singing, I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. We're still standing. Very nice. Stay in that ring. And even after you take a few hits, use what you learned from those previous fights, and at the end of each round, you'll remain still standing. That's the contest shit.
Beautifully done, beautifully done. Okay, so my question to you, my friends, what's wrong with this presentation?
I would have disqualified her.
Exactly. Why?
Because she didn't give credit for the song.
Exactly. That clip, and I've made this presentation once before, and I noticed it. I do youth leadership, and I was doing a youth leadership presentation or camp or session for a group of young girls who I was like, this is phenomenal because this woman is someone that they can relate to. She's young, she's vibrant, she looks like them. And it was just so inspiring to them because they were so talented and they watched this with such enthusiasm. And I'm sitting there watching the entire 7-minute speech, which was absolutely wonderful. It was beautiful. And then I went, hey, come on, girl, say it. You got to do it. Say it. And she never gave credit for the speech, for the I'm Still Standing song. Now understand, if she had just gone through that entire thing and just said, I'm still standing, there would be no problem. But the minute she added a melody, it became someone's original work and not hers. Protests and disqualifications are a heartbreaker. A heartbreaker. Protests are limited to eligibility, originality, or reference to another contestant's speech and must only be lodged by voting judges. This is very, very new. References to another person's speech, another contestant's speech. This is one of the revisions that I warned you about to tell you, if you're making a speech and someone in that contest speaks before you and you make a reference to that person, if you mention their name or sections of their speech, you are disqualified. That is grounds for a protest. A protest means that the judges are judging, listening to the contest, and then they see something is wrong, and they will say on their ballot or write on their ballot, protest. The ballot counters will take that, and then there will be a protest hearing that is conducted by the chief judge. They will ask, hey, who protested and why? The judges will discuss it. The contestant comes in and is brought in, and he or she will need to defend their position. It is not pleasant. It is not something we want to do. We want to make sure that we take care of our contestants ahead of time. Any protest must be lodged with the chief judge or the contest chair prior to the announcement of winners and alternates. Once the winners are announced, there is no turning back. Ramona Smith, and again, she's absolutely glorious. I'm so proud of her, and I think it's wonderful, especially when we have Texans that are snatching up world championships. You know, that's big stuff. We're our own country anyway. The rest of the world's just coming along. So we understand, though, that we're proud of her. What I question is not Ramona Smith, though. It's not Ramona's job to count herself. She's not supposed to protest against herself. Maybe she should. But the judges, we had not at least a minimum of 9 judges plus a tiebreaker, plus a chief judge and a contest chair at the international level, and nobody said that. You add at least 10 to 12 contestants. A contestant would say, hey, she just sang that song and she didn't quote herself. That means her winning means that There's a first place person, a second place person, somebody who came in fourth that likely should have been third or even first. That means somebody went home who was qualified. And that's something that we will not tolerate District 55. Every year, it seems that there's someone who's disqualified at the area or division or even district level, and that is disheartening. The use of ideas, quotes, songs, stories, poetry, prose, raps, even if it is a public domain material, must be credited or cited as not your own original quote. If you stand there and sing happy birthday, nobody knows who wrote that. Nobody knows where it came from. You have to make sure that you say, when I was a kid, we sang happy birthday to me, or sing the song and I still can hear my mother's voice singing that song to me. You have to say something that lets us know as the audience and as judges that you're not claiming that as your own original authorship. Any questions?
Blake
I have a
has
question.
his hand raised.
Go for it.
I thought there was a certain percentage that you were allowed to get away with as far as original material is concerned.
None
You know,
at
like
all. What?
nothing at all. Did they just change that recently?
No, not at all. Actually, that's a misinterpretation. So understand that 25% of your, so you got 100% of a speech, 25% of your speech, and somebody do the math, 7-minute speech, 25% of that speech can be unoriginal. It could be a quote. You could quote the Pledge of Allegiance and make that 25% of your speech, but you still have to cite, whether you do it 1%, 10%, or quote 25%, you have to cite that it is not your speech, that it is not your written original text.
So like with that woman, and when she sang her little song, and it didn't last very long compared to the other parts of the speech, what should she have said then at the beginning?
She, after she said that, she should have said something like, I mean, at that point, because, okay, so there's a couple things you need to understand about that particular situation. She didn't use, that's the first time she made that speech. That's an original speech. At the international level, they have to do an original speech at that level. So this is not the one that she had from club, division, district, and all that. She didn't have that all the way through, or at least I don't think she did. She wouldn't have been able to do that. But what would have happened is the minute she sang, I'm still standing, and the audience came in and said, yeah, 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 and the audience sang, that gave her time to go, hey, I need to cite this. So that would be say like, you know, she said very nice. I would have said something to the effect of very nice. So you guys like Elton John songs too, or something that let them know that that's not my song. Got it. Yeah, because she could say, her theme was, I'm still standing after these controversies. Saying I'm still standing that's original. That's her testimony. But the minute you add a melody to it, it's somebody else's song. It's not a testimony anymore. And so even if it's 20%, 10%, that little 10 seconds in her speech, that was costly. And I think that's very frightening because the rule books are very, very explicit. And that part of the rules has not been changed in years and years. All right. Oh, go ahead.
This is Cynthia. I just wanted to say to Blake that this used to confuse me too. And then I finally understood how Wilma just explained it. But if that woman in that speech had listed 30 songs and sang little clips from all these songs, even though she cited it, it probably would have put her over 25% of her content. And even though she cited it, she would be disqualified because she exceeded 25% of her speech.
Exactly. We had a division person who did that a few years ago, who had a lot of songs in the presentation. And at one point, I think people were going, okay, I see the club, I see the area. Oh no, you're not getting out of division with that one. And I just knew something was going to happen. And sure enough, there was just, it's close. It was like, we're timing. And judges are not supposed to time. Judges don't time, but you can tell when a person is using too much of their presentation for non-original material. The level playing field. You always hear the Toastmaster talk about the level playing field, and they will say something to the effect of, In order that the level playing field is protected, blah, 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 and they'll talk about that. That's what we want. And that's what we strive for. And that is where District 55 excels. The level playing field must be provided and accessible to all contestants, officials, and to the audience members. We want to respect our audience members and their attention and their time. It must be respected. That means you maintain personal and public accountability and integrity. We want to make sure that if we see something wrong, that we say something is wrong. It does not serve us well as Toastmasters, as clubs, as a district that's trying to grow and connect with people and encourage and develop people if we are not saying, this is unacceptable. This is not proper, and it's taken away from someone else. When someone succeeds because they weren't caught, it really is disheartening for those who actually did the right thing. So you want to say something. And our playing field must be protected. I always tell people, speak up, question, report discrepancies to the contest chair or chief judge immediately. The minute they said Ramona Smith, winner, there was nothing anyone could do. You could not say anything. If you tell the chief judge or the contest chair, they would have said, hey, call for recess, point of order. They would have stopped it, and then the corrections would have been made, okay? I told you that there were a lot of revisions this year. There's several things that you want to make sure that you know as a contestant or as a contestant mentor. Only contestants who joined Toastmasters prior to the rollout of Pathways can apply competent communicator speeches. We talked about that. Some clubs were reticent in trying to join and jump on the Pathways wagon. And so they were, even after district had started with Pathways, there were still some people who were still trying to use manuals and getting credit for them because there was this discomfort. Don't do that. They will not be qualified, and that they will not count if you did it after it was rolled out here. And I believe that was, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was February 2018 or 17, 18?
When what happened?
That District 55 rolled out Pathways.
Yeah. Is Doug on here? I remember when we did it, but it's been over 2 years, and it was right after Valentine's.
Okay, I think it was February of 2017. So there should be definitely anybody that made CC speeches in a very relaxed club after, I would say 2017. You won't be able to count those. Evaluation contest rules. This year there are 2 contests. The international speech is always the contest, and then our second for our district will be evaluation. I encourage you to start evaluating and practicing if you're going to compete there. After 5 minutes has lapsed, no further preparation is allowed, and all contestants must hand in their copy of the evaluation contest notes to the Sergeant at Arms. Why is that significant? Anybody know? If you've ever been in an evaluation contest, you have to use you have to use the actual evaluation form to take your notes of the test speaker. A test speaker will make a 7-minute presentation. You will be able to sit in the audience and take notes, organize your thoughts, and then you're going to be brought out one at a time. You have 5 minutes to put your notes together and your outline together, and then you have to relinquish that to the Sergeant at Arms. In other words, you cannot be working on your evaluation notes while I'm out there, Wilma's speaking, I'm speaker number 6, I got another 10, 15 minutes. No. You will not be able to do that. So you would have to give your form to the Sergeant at Arms. It used to be that we would let the first speaker keep his or her notes. That no longer is the case. Everyone, including the first presenter, will turn in his or her notes. Speech preparation. This is huge because this is unusual to me, but contestants must not reference another speech or another contestant or a speech presented by another contestant from the platform in the same contest that they're competing in. At district level, division level, there are 8 contestants. If, for instance, someone stood up and made a speech about bicycles, If I say, I started riding a bicycle too, just like my friend Jane, that is grounds for me to be disqualified. You cannot reference another speech. What that does is there's the implication that you're trying to relate to this particular person and charm your judges. And that's a no-no. Any questions? Boom, here we go.
Wait, Wilma, there was a question in the chat.
I'm sorry.
There's a question in the chat, and I remember hearing a conversation once, but not the answer. Since everything's virtual, how will the Sergeant of Arms in the contestant evaluator breakout room know they've relinquished notes?
All right, what is going to happen is that we have breakout rooms, and the judges, the sergeants at arms will be monitoring the rooms. They will be watching what you're doing. We have to rely on integrity. We definitely have to rely on integrity. But if we see you, with your head down, going all, you don't get to say I'm playing Scramble with Friends. No, you got to be paying attention. So there will be the sergeant at arms will have you in the breakout room while the other speakers are actually speaking, and they will be watching you, talking to you, distracting you, having conversations, talking about, trading pound cake recipes, whatever it does to keep you doing something else and to keep you occupied while you're waiting. So they will find ways to get in your head if they're doing their job right. Another thing is that since we are virtual, we have more of every role. Last year, when I was chief judge, I had 15 judges, voting judges. I only needed 7, but I had 15 voting judges, and I had 3 tiebreaker judges. And they didn't know who was the tiebreaker judges did not know who the other 2 tiebreaker judges were. I knew which one, whose vote I was going to count. But I did that because if any judge falls off during a speech, say a judge listens to the first 7 speakers and then they have a blip or a glitch in their internet, so they lose connection, they need to let the chief judge know immediately, and the chief judge is required to discard their ballot for the entire contest. I will not count it for the entire contest. That is so beautiful, Mia. Girl, you look like the Grinch. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You're a mean one. That's so cool. Thank you. So I will make sure that those judges that judge's ballot is gone. And we did have that happen. So we need to make sure that we cover those bases. My tiebreaker judges, I knew whose ballot I was supposed to count. And I was able to use that person's ballot. So there will be a lot more people, a lot more. We have 2 sergeant at arms required. They'll probably have 4 or 5. Just to make sure that the internet connection is there and is working. So this is your contestants cache. If you're taking notes, you can kind of read that. You want to study the current rule book. Note the revisions. Look for the revisions and the rule book explanation. There's a forum called the Speech Contest Rule Book Explanation of Changes. That means that all these revisions for this year, for instance, the Toastmaster does not introduce the contestants. The contest chair has to introduce the contestants this year, which is very strange to me. So we'll figure out how that scripting is going to go. Know the judging criteria for the contest that you're going to be in. If you're a contestant, know what those judges are looking for. Don't walk in there thinking you're going to be evaluated and you're a great speaker. No, you're a great speaker who is about to be judged. Not compared to the next person next to you. They're going to judge you based on the criterion. Get you a ballot and study that bad boy. Pass it around to your friends. Ask your club to judge you in your meeting as a speaker. Confirm your status, your club status at every level. If there is a lapse, you need to be aware of that because we did have a contestant whose club fell out of graces, and the club they were representing, it wound up costing him that division. That's so disheartening. Maintain accountability and integrity. Lastly, and more than anything, and this is probably my biggest, speak up. You have to say something. As a contestant, you need to be equipped to say something. It doesn't mean you have to make a scene, but you have an advocate in your chief judge and you have an advocate in your contest chair. You want to make sure that when you hear, oh, she just sang a song and she didn't cite anywhere in her speech what that was. She's been making the same quote, and I have yet to hear her say that this is a quote out of A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh. I know this book. I know this story. You need to let us know so that can be checked. And it has to be done before the announcement of winners. No matter what is wrong, if the winners are announced, they are the winners. Any questions?
And I got off of it real quick, and then I hit the phone the wrong way. So
I had things, I have just a few questions here, but we are in the yellow. I think I've given some information, and I hope that you have been informed and that you are ready to get out there and compete. I am looking forward to seeing you. I'm not your chief judge this year. Woohoo! Let somebody else do it. I already got my winner. Go Mike Carr, go Mike Carr. But I do want you to I want you to succeed. And I don't want to see needless disqualifications, especially when you've worked so hard to get through those levels. And it's just disheartening and heartbreaking. And I think that we need to have somebody that says, hey, know these things so you can protect yourself and your work. You guys have a beautiful, beautiful day and a safe weekend. And every one of you stay safe and blessed.
Hey, Wilma, do we go back to the original room now, or are we done for the TLI?
What are we doing, Miss Kathy? Good question, Lee. Kathy.
I was trying to unmute myself. Everybody that's on this call, except for the people I texted and asked to join a debrief, can end. You're done you've met your qualifications. Those of you that are on the debrief, we're going back to the main Zoom link, provided we can get back in, Wendy.